In the past 12 days, I managed to make $50,000, a 300% return on Bitcoin, squeezing to a new all-time high. But better than that, I called out the trade before I even did it. In this video, I want to be breaking down the entire story. What I saw, what I didn't see, when I got into the trade, how I managed it, and what I'll be looking for next. And that final part is going to be the most important part of this video, the exact setup of how I'm looking to wash, rinse, and repeat this exact same trade. I'll let you know all the metrics, all the nitty gritty. Trust me, you're going to enjoy it. But before we get to all that, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video with a friend if they're also a degen in the market. And with that being said, let's get to it. Just add a little bit of framework to this particular video. I'm filming the video on Monday, July the 14th. Here's the current headline. Stocks are a little changed as investors bet Trump's tariffs will be lowered. So really not much happening in the equities market, but the crypto market did hit a new all-time high, clocking 123. I hope by the time you're watching this, it's even higher, but Bitcoin itself currently trading at 120,000. And just because I don't want to be one of those talking heads on the internet without proving what I'm actually saying, here are my recent trades. I was trading on BITX, which is a 2x leveraged ETF based on Bitcoin. You could see I got in on July 2nd. At the beginning of July, I was making various videos. We were talking about it on stream of how I think Bitcoin is about to rip. There were various things that were coming to a head, and I thought it was a better odds than not chance that Bitcoin was going to skyrocket. If you look at those comments, people were telling me I was crazy, and even though people were kind of optimistic, they didn't think we'd be seeing a new all-time high. But guess what? I put my money where my mouth was, about $16,000, and bought 100 contracts. And then on Friday, heading into the weekend, just because of I figured good risk management, I should dump half, around 27,000, net gain of 11. And then early today, when we saw a monster open at the new all-time high, I dumped the other 50 for a gain of 40,000, which means overall I made about 51,000 on this short-term 12-day trade, so about a week and a half. So I just wanted to show it to you just to kind of prove what's going on, but I really want to get into like what I saw, what I didn't see, and most importantly, I want to get into what I'm looking for, the next 300% return trade. So let's get to crypto. Bitcoin 2016, Bitcoin now in 2025, it is the hottest thing. And in fact, the people betting against it right here, here's a look at how much the bears, the shorts, are getting squeezed out. Over 400 million worth of Bitcoin shorts have been liquidated in the past 24 hours. If you look at this cumulatively, ever since the start of the month until now, billions of dollars have been squeezed out of their position betting against Bitcoin. And the first question is, why is this all happening? Well, the one word answer would be uncertainty. Trump's 30% tariff letter leaves EU scrambling to bring US on side. Trump threatens 100% tariffs on Russian export buyers unless Ukraine peace deal is reached by September. Trump tariff doesn't cause inflation because of patriotism buying. What does this all have together? Quite a bit of uncertainty. And when you have uncertainty, especially really co-located for one country, the US, well, that means that that local currency gets hit by quite a bit. Ever since the start of the year until now, the dollar, DXY, the old Dixie index, this is the US dollar versus a basket of other currencies. Well, you can see on a relative basis, the dollar's dropping. Lower highs, lower lows, getting absolutely murked. And when people see that, well, they want to store their value. Historically, a lot of people look to something like gold, but recently, instead of going to gold, people have been going to digital gold, aka Bitcoin. So as long as the US dollar has been dropping, Bitcoin has been ripping, hence why we clocking a new all-time high. Year to date, Bitcoin is up over 100%, and also the entire crypto sphere is worth about 3.7 trillion, and Bitcoin itself, the granddaddy of all cryptos, worth about 2.4 trillion, so obviously a majority of the overall crypto net worth. Those are pretty much the major things you need to know from a 10,000 foot view, but to understand what I saw, what I didn't see, and why I executed the trade that I did, well, we're gonna have to get a little bit into the nitty-gritty details. That might sound a little bit complicated, but as you're about to find out, it is not at all. In fact, I have a rather basic, rudimentary checklist of just 3 things that make me either get into a trade, get out of a trade, or completely skip one. Really, I just want to look at price structure, price momentum, and what in the world is going on with options flow. On the screen right now, you can see Bitcoin. Ever since late May up until roughly early July, remember I got in on July 2nd, we had lower highs and lower lows. By definition, that is a bearish trend. And then all of a sudden, on July 2nd, we had this opportunity of a breakout, a potential short-term trend switch from bearish to bullish to basically go in line with the overall trend. So that's checklist item number 1. I want a bullish trend if I'm going to make a bullish trade. The second thing I'm going to look at is momentum. Right here on the chart, you can see this colorized cloud. Those are just EMAs. The fact that the cloud is green and price is on top of the cloud, that means we have bullish momentum. So right now we have two bullish things going on. We have bullish price structure, potentially also a technical breakout that's going to add on, and it's probably part of the reason why we had such a bullish price structure, and we had bullish momentum. In early July, when I saw that we were potentially getting a bullish breakout with bullish structure and bullish momentum, I had to check my third thing, options flow. And if you don't believe me, it was on stream. I made many videos about it, but you're going to have to trust me in this one. The TLDR is we saw a lot of bullishness in the options flow, a lot of call buying, a lot of put selling on IBIT, which is the Bitcoin ETF, the major one. I know there's many, and then also Bitcoin related companies such as MicroStrategy and Coinbase, just to name a few. But what you need to know is the options flow, it wasn't just a little bit bullish, it was a lot of it bullish. And in fact, the way it was setting up, especially with the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ having a lot of bullish seasonality in July, I figured this is a time to really strike. And that's when I started to look at BITX, which is a 2x Bitcoin strategy ETF. So ideally, and it's not going to be exactly perfect, whatever Bitcoin's doing, this thing should be double the percent. As you can see here, same thing, July 2nd, we got that breakout, and that's exactly when I got into these calls. And obviously, we had a day or two or three of just things kind of going sideways, really nothing that excited. And then the party really started on the 9th, and then it just kept going and going and going. I decided it would be smart risk management to get out of half of them before the weekend, just because we didn't know what Trump was going to say, not going to say. We didn't know if there was going to be profit taking over the weekend where, yes, the crypto market's still trading, but I just didn't have the opportunity. That's why I got out of half. And then the other half, when we just gapped up to new all highs, I wanted to get out here because I'm already in the week of expiration. I am filming this on July 14th. They expire the 18th, so I'm just running out of time. The negative implications of theta, the theta decay is going to get worse and worse and worse as vol is getting crushed. So if anything, I just needed the opportunity to take my money off the table and really reevaluate what's going on, because if anything, I just wanted to roll it out to a higher strike price and also a future expiration date. I told you that it was going to be simple. I looked for bullish price structure, bullish price momentum, and optimism, bullishness in the options flow. And then when it rode and rode and rode, and then I started to see things calm down a little bit, that's exactly when I took all of my attendees off the table. And I'm now once again in a pause of just waiting for that perfect opportunity. And I don't know if or when it's going to come, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's very soon. Bitcoin hits a new high above 120,000 as US lawmakers begin crypto week. There's a very good chance that the headlines of the week are really crypto related, driving potential optimism. So this is something that I'm just going to wait to see if we see that follow through in the actual price. Investors have been anticipating Bitcoin to hit fresh records this year as corporate treasuries accelerate their Bitcoin buying sprees and the US Congress nears the passing of new crypto legislation. The US House of Reps will begin deliberations on a series of crypto bills starting today, Monday, in what has been dubbed a crypto week. The potential laws are aimed at providing a clear regulatory framework for the digital asset industry. One of the most significant bills under consideration is the Genius Act, which could establish federal guardrails for US dollar-pegged stablecoins and create a pathway for private companies to issue digital dollars. So clearly there could be headlines and just a new narrative driving if the price is going up or down. But the fact that I'm right now flat and I've already locked in my position in my active trades, I should clarify, as a long-term investor, I have Bitcoin, I don't touch it. In all reality, I don't think about it. This is more specifically for short-term trading. What I'm looking for is after this pop, I want a little bit of a healthy pullback. And then when I see that healthy pullback, as we saw before, start to break back in trend with the overall trend, as in going from short-term bearish to medium-term bullish, that's when I want to strike again. So I'll be looking at for price structure. I also want to make sure price is on top of all these EMAs. And the final thing I'll be looking at is that options flow. And the easiest way to do it is with IBIT. This is going to be the largest ETF for Bitcoin, and it's really easy to track what's going on. But as you can see today, we got really close to 69. Surprise, surprise. Guess where there is a lot of gamma resistance? 69 and 70. Right now, this is a clear upside bet from all the bulls in the market, not the most optimistic of it getting above that, once again, in the very short term. But based on what Trump does or doesn't say, or even based on the optimism or lack of optimism in the market, this could very much change. So what I want to see on that pullback and break, and obviously the bullish momentum, I want to see where the big players are really structuring their bets, because I'm just that little minnow fish trying to go with the overall trend. I'm trying to ride with those big whales. And right now, yes, there's technically some upside, but what I want to see is the new fresh bets that come in after the monthly expiration this Friday. So there you have it. You really don't have to overcomplicate things. Identify the larger trend of whatever you're paying attention to. In this case, the larger trend of Bitcoin is very bullish. Then when things calm down and there's a bit of a pullback, wait for that bearish trend to go back in alignment with the overall bullish trend. Double check the momentum. I generally use EMAs, but use whatever your favorite thing is. And then just to really make sure, cross your T's, dot your I's, make sure what's going on in the world of options. If those three things are all agreeing in one direction, well, I would say your odds are pretty good. But of course, you always have to be respectful of what your overall bet sizing is. If you have any questions of what I saw, what I didn't say, if I confused you in any manner, let me know in a comment below and I'll be getting back to all of you. That's what I have for you now. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.